This YellaWood 500 Betting Picks 2025 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACESGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. We have left the world of mile and a halves, and we are now entering into the superspeedway portion of the NASCAR playoffs, Cody. And there's a lot of drivers excited, and there's a lot of drivers that are scared out of their minds.
I think all but one of them are scared out of their minds coming into Talladega this weekend. But going to be pretty excited. I'm pretty excited for it. But first, Rod, I think we need to go back. I think we need to go back to last week at Las Vegas, and not a conversation that anybody ever wants to have. But I feel like I need to step in here and remind you why we don't do certain things around here, Rod. And one of those things would be betting on one Captain Shook. I told you not to do it. You did it, and look how it turned out. Wasn't even close to winning all day. Well, okay, maybe not, but in the end, he remains shook, and that's the point, Rod.
So let's step back for a second, and I stayed out of the Discord conversation for the most part because JDK and Rowdy and they had that thing all covered, and I didn't need to step in anymore. But if second place is shook, if leading the most laps on the day is shook, I mean, listen, stop. I gave you your 5 seconds. Give me mine. Here's the thing. I know that we weigh everything he does way more intensely than a lot of other drivers, right? But the problem is he's still the best driver out there. And unfortunately, he didn't win this one, but he led all of the freaking laps in the world out there. And if it wasn't for that last caution, we would have been singing a different song because he was checked out. There was no way anyone was going to catch him. He was going to win that race. That last caution. And look, Blaney got NASCAR'd, so did Larson in a different way, but he got NASCAR'd because that last caution essentially cost him the win.
If we're gonna make excuses, well, if it wasn't for Indianapolis in May, he probably would have won 5 races since then. But things happen, and that is the point. It's not that's why he can be the guy that shook, because he is the best driver in the entire world. There's a clip of me and Kramer having that argument on the main show like 3 years ago that still pops up, and the comments are not nice to me. Apparently F1 fans disagree, but I think that Kyle Larson is the best race car driver in the world, but he's shook. He can't get it done. And I will say this was the performance where it was like, okay, and we've said it the whole time, it's going to end eventually, but the point remains, you can't bet on the guy because he's unreliable. He still had a chance to win the thing after he couldn't pass Chase Briscoe on 2 tires with 4 tires. I mean, and you only got him at 5. That's the thing. You only got him at 5-1. It's just there's no value there. But hey, whatever.
I'm just saying.
Shook status will remain until further notice, Rod.
Indeed, which is why he's on neither one of our cards today. But again, it's just
he's on the card, Rod. Don't worry.
Oh, he's not on my card. So I guess
on my card.
I guess he is on your card, isn't he? But yeah, there you go. Well, he's on your card, but he's also on your card in a different way too. So you've got him there. Yeah. But All right, listen, I know that we are talking NASCAR, but it is hockey season. The NHL is back. So is the Hockey Gambling Podcast. You can join Ryan and Joel as they break down the biggest games, storylines, awards, and best bets throughout the season. Let it slide. Let's say hello real quick to Marcus, who's saying first, hello, everyone. Wants to know who everyone's pick is to win at Talladega. I'm thinking he's picking Christopher Bell, and he is. Christopher Bell to win at Talladega. I don't know, Cody. Neither one of us are going to be really on him in any way, shape, or form. So it's just tough here. He's not really good at this track.
Yeah, didn't make the cut, and he's just. You want to talk about Shook? He's been off lately, but yeah. Oh well. Maybe he'll get it done for you.
Indeed. All right. So as we said in the outset, we are at Talladega. It is the super speedway portion of this playoff system, and the wild card, this is the wild card for everybody. Only Denny Hamlin is immune from this, and Denny can do what he wants, and he can pretty much hang in the back all day, not have a care in the world because he is in the championship for everybody else scrapping for it, and it's going to be a dogfight, Cody, because the playoffs, there's some very interesting situations going on there in the standings.
Yeah, I mean, just some crazy swings this past weekend at Las Vegas. Obviously, Denny kind of comes in late and wins that race when it didn't look like he was going to. So, that locks him in. He doesn't have to worry about these next two races. Having that taken off your plate is huge. Obviously, we saw the preparation starting, 2 weeks in advance. He's got 2 weeks lead time on everybody else getting ready for Phoenix. They still have to worry about Talladega. They still have to worry about Martinsville. He doesn't. He's got that opportunity to start preparing. He's clearly in a different mindset right now, and it's a killer mindset. And if I'm the competition, I would be very scared of Denny Hamlin at Phoenix right now because he's got a different mindset than he has in the past, and he's been the guy that's choked it away every which way you can imagine. But this might just be his season. We will see in a couple of weeks. But Kyle Larson comes into Talladega. So obviously Talladega this week going to be huge, right? I think we're going to see very intense racing at the end of these stages, because if you can get out of here with any points in your pocket, you want to go get them when you have the chance, because we know the big one's going to happen. Maybe 2 big ones, maybe it's 3 big ones. Occasionally there's no big ones, but that doesn't happen very often. It's going to be chaos. And if you can get a chance to get any points, I think you're going to want to take them. So Kyle Larson comes in with a 35-point cushion. If we were going anywhere else on the schedule, you'd feel really great about his chances to get to Phoenix. But coming into Talladega, now granted his last 2 races here, he's finished very well. But for anybody in the field, doesn't matter who it is, coming into Talladega, you're never safe with anything. So 35-point cushion for him, 20 points for Christopher Bell, 15 points for Chase Briscoe. William Byron, minus 15. Obviously, that was looking much, much different until the closing stages there at Las Vegas. That flipped completely around when he got involved in that incident with Ty Dillon. Chase Elliott is 23 points to the bad. Joey Logano's 24 points. And Ryan Blaney, of course, the expert Suck said earlier, got NASCAR'd. Thinking they blew the tire to cause him to hit the wall like that, but minus 31 points. Now, I will say I don't think anybody's in a must-win situation yet. There could be enough chaos this weekend where you could easily flip that. And you just have to think about, if Ryan Blaney goes out and wins both stages in this race, he's a very good plate racer, very good at Talladega. I think he's won twice here in the fall. Now he's only 11 points away from the cutoff. That's not very much with 2 races, between Martinsville and the rest of the Talladega race. So don't hit the panic button for anybody yet, but this is an uncomfortable race for all 7 of these guys. Even a Kyle Larson at 20 or at 35 points to the good, even a Christopher Bell at 20 points to the good. A win, obviously, by any of the guys below that shrinks that number. These guys are all feeling very uncomfortable in their seats going into Talladega.
Well, and they're already uncomfortable because they're at Talladega, let alone the stakes that are there for them at Talladega as well. Yeah, unfortunately, Ryan Blaney going out after 70 laps. But I will say that there was all but Ryan Blaney actually finished 133 laps of that race, which was one of the bets that we had from the card last week. So that was pretty fun to see. I told you, this race, as chaotic as it gets, it's usually chaos late. And that was really what was going on. Everybody ran the first 2 stages pretty cleanly, and then all hell broke loose in 233 and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. You nailed that one. We had a really good weekend I had some Fade Byron stuff in there, which wasn't looking good, but it ended up turning out good. And I faded him a couple other ways on Sundays. So I was really sweating those tickets. Luckily, that kind of worked out for me, but had Hamlin to win the race, which was great. And I think one of us had Almirola in Xfinity as well. So was that me? I think
that was you. You had Almirola. Yeah.
I already forgot, but I know I personally bet on him. I can't remember which one of us. I couldn't remember which one of us gave it out. So, sweep on the weekend. That's nice going into Talladega. But on to Dega now.
On to Talladega. That is correct. We are set for 188 laps around this 2.660 mile paved track for 500.080 slamming miles around the Talladega Superspeedway in Talladega, Alabama, Ricky Bobby's playground.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Hey, listen, shake and bake, baby.
Shake and bake. All right, Rod, we have got a full field, 40 entries for this event. You always love to see a full field like that. Of course, you got your 36 regulars. The terrorist himself, Austin Hill, he's going to be back in the 33 car for RCR this weekend. Anthony Alfredo, he is making a return in the number 62 car for Beard Motorsports. Good old fast pasta there. Casey Mears, an old school name, obviously. He's been making a few random starts here and there. He's going to be back in that Garage 66 car. And BJ McLeod returns to drive his number 78 this weekend. So 40 entries, they will all make the field.
Indeed. Yeah, a lot of fun when they're all, and then of course the names that you don't normally see all the time coming in to make Super Speedway starts. Always great to see them back as well. So, all right, well then, all that's left is to start getting to some of these bets. By the way, let's see. Expert Suck is liking my Avs jersey. I am a very big Colorado Avalanche fan, so thank you very much for that one. Off to a good start, the Avs are, by the way. Having some good games so far this season. Beat the Kings, beat the Mammoths, right? Lost to the stupid Stars, but whatever. We'll get them back.
The Mammoths? What team is that?
Utah.
Oh, that's like the expansion team, right?
Yeah, that's Utah. The Utah Hockey Club from last year, then now they are known as the Mammoths.
Right.
So,
what they used to be called?
Utah? That was it. The Utah Hockey Club. They used to be the Arizona Coyotes. And then they moved.
Coyotes, yeah.
Yeah. Phoenix Coyotes, Arizona Coyotes.
I'm caught up on my NHL stuff now.
Good.
So, we do have one quick news story, Rod, if you want to jump into it.
Sure, let's do
quickly. Justin Haley, not going to be with the 7 car next year. They announced today that he will not be returning to the Spire Motorsports car. What a ride it's been for Justin Haley. If you go back and you remember a couple of years ago in the Colleague car, ran admirably, whatever, and all of a sudden it was like, Rick Ware was the bottom of the bottom. I mean, it still is, but even more so than it is now. And he signs this 3-year deal with them, and he's talking about all this RFK partnership. He couldn't believe Brad Keselowski was in the meetings, all this stuff, like so excited. Here we go. Then he goes out and does pretty well for them. Suddenly he gets traded, which we hadn't seen a trade in 20 years in the Cup Series. He gets traded from Rick Ware over to Spire because Spire wants to get a hold of him. Then all the rumors come out like, oh, he's replacing Alex Bowman in the 48 car. News coming any day, like he's going to the 48. Rick Hendrick has his eyes on Justin Haley. He's the next guy. Obviously, that doesn't happen. Then, Rodney Childers, here we go. We're going to pair these two guys up. This is the next pairing of everything. This is going to be greatness. And he doesn't even last, 5 races, and he's just like, okay, fuck this. I'm out of this crazy place. And then now Justin Haley is gone from Spire. There is no Cup rides out there. He's not going to get a Cup ride. So, holy shit, what a ride it's been for Justin Haley over the last. And this has all just happened in the last 2 years. I mean, beginning of last year is when he was driving for Rick Ware Racing, and he got traded, mid to late season. And then this year has been not great. And then, boom, like that, you go from rumors of taking over the 48 car to probably without a Cup Series ride. I mean, I find it very hard to believe there's any full-time Cup ride he's going to be able to get.
Yeah, and then you look at the Xfinity rides, and there's maybe a couple that could open up, and truck-wise, too. It feels like there's just not a whole lot of openings that are there. I mean, granted, silly season's going to be silly
there's a lot.
Season.
You got all the fucking Colleague is fielding 5 Dodge trucks.
That's true.
There's a lot of truck rides, and I don't think we know any of those drivers yet. So we'll see. But there is some lower series stuff out there, but I would assume that Daniel Suarez will be taking over this 7 ride. Obviously there's like the Corey Himes of the world out there, but TRD's got so much money in him. I don't know that they're going to let him go. They might be forced to put him in a cup ride over letting him go, but I would assume this is a business decision by the 7 team and Spire, and I would imagine that we will see Daniel Suarez get that right.
Well, when you got McDonald and Hocevar as your other 2 drivers, I think you do need to sort of have that third driver that is more reliable, and unfortunately that hasn't been Haley lately, and hopefully he does land on his feet because he's definitely a good, upstanding driver, just needs, I think, another couple of seasons just to get seasoned even more. But all right, let's get to Talladega. But first, I want to tell you about my friends over at MyBookie. We're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on football and everything else. Their prop builder is obviously second to none if you've used it before. Their motto is bet on anything, anywhere, anytime. Easy deposit, lightning fast payout using cryptocurrency. You want to know how, anytime, anywhere, anything? How about floorball? That's right. November 5th is the floorball game, or floorball match rather, between the Okrastara Bolslav. We said this before the show and definitely botched it on that one. Taking on the Buchis. All right, that's what the matchup is. So go find it over on MyBookie. The Okrastara Bolslav taking on Buchis, and it looks like the Bolslav are 1.5 point underdogs at -104. Take that if you want, because that's always fun to just cheer on sports that you've never heard anything about. So you're first hearing it here, floorball on MyBookie. Go bet that and tons of other great stuff. Head to MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% bet back bonus up to $500 for new customers. So, hey, you sign up now, you make that bet, you lose, you get that back. So MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Let's tell you about our friends over at Novig. We're also brought to you by Novig. Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market. Novig, you're getting the best prices. Novig is available in 35 or more states, so go download that Novig app and get $50 when you spend $5 if you use our promo code SGPN. Get in on the action with Novig, promo code SGPN. So I do a lot of funerals, right, as part of my job. And when I listen to some people talk about their loved ones and their absolute love of sports, they're like, he really loved the Giants, or, he really loved the Niners, or, he really loved this Pittsburgh team, whatever. I imagine that in the future, my kids are going to go, my dad loved floorball. My dad loved crazy net stuff. We don't know what he loved. He just loved sports. And I'm going to be like, yep, yes, that's true.
Any and all sports.
It doesn't even matter. Yeah. So absolutely love it. TK saying, what is this? Mexico 7-0 to yeah. Daniel Suarez to the 7.
I think the McDonald's fries are for you, Colin McDonald.
Did I say McDonald? Old McDonald's fries?
You did.
My bad.
Yes.
Anyway. All right. Well then, Cody, I think we're time for some Talladega bets. Some YellaWood 500. I always love saying the name of this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm ready to get into it. Ash checking in, by the way. Says, evening, lads. Glad I checked the Discord and popped in. Ford over Chevy for him. Briscoe plus 130. He was talking about liking plus matchups. Plus money matchups at super speedways is always a good way to go. Joey's a deserved favorite, but super speedway racing, exactly. Great point there. So Ash checking in. Good to see Ash as always. Lynn wants to pray to baby Jesus.
8-pound baby Jesus.
Nights. That's right. Yes. What do you say, Rod? Should we pray to baby Jesus now?
But why do we have to pray to the baby? He's grown up, right? Like, he's not a baby anymore.
I like to think of him as a baby because it's all about how you remember him. And the baby form is a good one.
I got to watch the movie this weekend. That's all I got to do too.
Yes, that's like a must. I need to pop that in too because Talladega Nights always delivers. It's just hilarious. Like, I find myself just like laughing so hard every time, even though I've seen the movie 100 times, and it's like, what's coming, the whole thing, but it's still just fucking hilarious every single time. Every time.
All right, our betting card, not hilarious because it'll win you money.
Hopefully not hilarious. Anyways, we'll see. Reminder. Hey, super speedways betting, not for everybody. I know some people take the week off. Go have fun. You just go into this expecting to lose all this, smaller than normal. This week is all about the sweats. That's what makes it fun. It's going to be sweaty. It's going to be fun, and I'm pretty excited for it. So with that being said, I'm going to jump on a poll bet to open things up. I'm going to take Noah Gragson 40-1. You can find him over on Caesars to be the fastest qualifier to win the poll. And main reason I'm looking at this, Zane Smith won the pole here in the spring in a front row motorsports car. Michael McDowell won the pole here last fall in a front row motorsports car, and Todd Gilliland was third place last spring as well. So, or last fall. So for whatever reason, and you can go back and look at other, Daytona, they've qualified well and stuff too, but front row has really brought it. His teammates, Zane Smith and Todd Gilliland, are both plus 850, but he's 40-1. Now, he's not qualified as well in general, but it's also his first season with the team. They've figured some stuff out over there. So if they put the magic setup in him at 40-1, take a flyer and open the week with the Noah Gragson pole for the speed we've seen out of front row, and for as low as his teammates are priced, they've got something figured out over there. And it's been Zane, it's been McDowell. Todd's qualified well, even though he hasn't got a pole. So it's not just been one driver or even one of the cars, because it's been multiple different cars with these guys. So give me Noah Gragson to win the pole at 40-1. That's the appetizer for you, Rod. Now, time to get into the main course. And, it wouldn't be a Super Speedway show if we didn't talk about one Captain Shook himself. That's right. Sure, he's been Captain Shook since Indianapolis 500 and that whole debacle this year. But he's been Captain Shook at Super Speedways for years for us, Rod. For years, we've been fading him at Super Speedways. In a general sense, it's really long-term. This is a great long-term investment. It's made us a ton of money. Lately, not quite as much, but Expert Suck was saying earlier, their head-to-head parlay is William Byron over Kyle Larson. Well, that is my one head-to-head I'm giving out today. You can get William Byron over Kyle Larson minus 110 over on ESPN. A bit of a interesting thing kind of looking back through it. So my favorite statistic about Kyle Larson, and of course it's been updated a couple of times here lately, more so than I like, but he is 4 for 53 in his career on super speedways in the Cup Series, finishing inside of the top 5. 53 starts. And again, I don't hate Kyle Larson. If you've listened lately, it might seem that way, but I think he's the greatest race car driver alive right now, currently racing. Give me him over Verstappen. He gets in everything all the time. Great Cup Series driver, but he's been shook. That's been well documented, obviously. But he's 4 for 53, finishing inside of the top 5 on super speedways. Now, granted, the last 2 times we've been at Talladega are 2 of those finishes. He finished second here in the spring, and he finished 4th there last fall. So give him props for that. But William Byron, I think William Byron doesn't get enough credit for how good he is on super speedways. Personally, I think he might be the best driver on super speedways. And at Talladega in particular, he's extremely good. 3rd place here in the spring, so 1 spot behind Larson. 3rd place here last fall, so some consistency, right? 1 spot ahead of Larson. So if you average them out, they're both averaging an average finish of 3 over the last 2 races. But then 7th place, 2nd, 7th, 12th, and 15th in the first year of the next gen. That's it. In the next gen era, 7 starts. 15th is the worst finish he's got. So you love that. And sure, Larson got the better of him in the spring here with the 2nd place finish. He had a 4th place finish, but then 21st, 15th, 33rd, 18th, 4th. And if you go into the old car, he had a stretch of like 4 races where he finished 38th or worse, I think it was. Really bad. But 5 of the 7 next-gen races here at Talladega, it's been William Byron over Kyle Larson. Now, if you look back this year, it might be very surprising, but William Byron's actually only beat Kyle Larson 1 time on super speedways this year, and that was the Daytona 500 where Byron won, of course, but also had the 3rd place finish here at Dega. So, a good run by Larson at Dega kind of clouded him there. But point being, Larson, sure, you could say maybe he's figured it out here recently a little bit more than he had, and I'll give you that. But I think he's gotten a little bit lucky, and there's been some wrecks where, oh, yeah, there's the Larson, and he's just snuck by, right? And he talked about when he was on Stacking Pennies a couple weeks ago how maybe he traded his superpowers and gave up being good on road courses for being good on super speedways, because at that point, he'd had no good finishes on road courses. We finished good at the Roval, Rod. So you think he undid that deal with the devil? I think he might have. we're fading Kyle Larson like we usually do. 2 top 5 finishes in a row. If he gets a third finish that good at Talladega, he will be off the fade at Talladega board. But the other part in this is you're getting the best guy, I think, in William Byron on this track and on super speedways in general. So give me William Byron over Kyle Larson -110 on ESPN.
Well, and our friends over at iFantasy Race back her up because they give him, or William Byron, the best finishing position out of everybody in averages. So he's got the best average finishing position at Talladega with 7. Kyle Larson, though, surprisingly, in the next-gen era, 4th on that list with 13.9 is his average finishing position, which is kind of eye-opening, but still, like I said, the numbers bear out that it's William Byron most
time
times.
to balance the sheet out. Right?
Put the scales in the right direction. But all right, I have got my head-to-head matchup that I'm going to roll with for this race, and I'm going to take both of those guys as teammates, and Alex Bowman over Bubba Wallace -110 over on ESPN. Quite simply, we do think of Bubba Wallace when we think of Talladega because, for whatever reason, the last couple of seasons, he's been solid, right? 2 top 10 finishes for him in the last 2 races here. 8th place in the spring, and then that 9th place in the fall to end it out. But before that, I mean, Talladega, I don't know what it is, but we say, oh, yeah, Bubba Wallace, this like phenomenal super speedway racer when we think about it sometimes, but not really as good as we remember. 19.6 is his average finish overall. Finishes of 36th, 23rd, 28th, 16th, and 17th. Lands him 23rd overall in average finishing on this track, as per our friends over at iFantasy Race. Alex Bowman, on the other hand, 3rd place overall in average finishing. It goes William Byron, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson. What does that tell? That's all Hendrick Motorsports dominating the top 4 positions. Now, granted, Alex Bowman is 1 race down in that fall race of 2022 that he missed because of injury, but he's got 3 top 10 finishes in the next-gen starts that he's got, and 3 outside of the top 10. But 13th place finish in the spring of 2023, followed it up with the 28th place finish in the fall. Cody, words are starting to get hard for me right now. Maybe I'm starting to super speedway race my way through this. And then in the fall of 2024, a 16th place finish as well, but 7th place in the spring of this year, 5th place in the spring of 2024, and then 9th place in the spring of 2022. He can get it done here. Alex Bowman, not that bad of a super speedway racer himself. Credit this season for him, by the way. 6th place in Daytona to open up the season. Bad day in Atlanta. Again, we count Atlanta in that super speedway mix because it is basically a super speedway package. But like I said, 7th place in this race, or on this track rather, in the fall. And then you go down to the next one at Daytona. Crashed out of that one, but started in the outside pole. So there was some speed in that car at the time. So again, 3rd place in the fall race in Atlanta, or the summer race in Atlanta. So a couple of solid top 10 and top 5 finishes for that matter in the 48 car this season on super speedways. Bubba Wallace, on the other hand, crashed out of Daytona earlier in this season. He did follow it up with a 9th place in Atlanta, but that's really where Bubba Wallace is better. He's better at Atlanta than anywhere else. Talladega was an 8th place finish for Bubba Wallace, but again, that was one where Alex Bowman actually got him instead. So as good a finish as that was, Bowman was a little bit better. And then you go to Atlanta in the summertime. Bubba Wallace finished in 22nd place in that race. And then 37th, he crashed out at Daytona. And recently for Bubba Wallace, ever since being bounced now from the playoffs, and really even to kind of close out his playoff run, was not that impressive. He crashed out of Bristol, finished 34th, 26th in New Hampshire. He did have a 5th place at Kansas, but 15th at the Roval, 22nd last week at Las Vegas after he was running pretty well. Kind of been a little bit disappointing, whereas Alex Bowman, a little bit better. 7th place at Vegas last week, 18th on the Roval. Bad day at Kansas, finished 28th, but 15th at Loudon, 8th at Bristol. So, I mean, these drivers are sort of on the same trajectory where it's a good race, a bad race, a good race, a bad race, but for Bowman, he's got his teammates up there that he's going to be able to run with. They're all probably going to be running around the front, so I'm going to take Alex Bowman over Bubba Wallace, and especially because Bowman is the underdog in this one at -110 over on ESPN.
Yeah, so, as was pointed out earlier in the chat, any plus money head-to-heads, that's generally the way to go. I really don't like the minus money side of things unless it's a matchup I feel really good about, or fading Kyle Larson. And there was a couple of other, Ash dropped in a couple of other matchups. I'm, in the past, I've been all about every head-to-head you could possibly get against Kyle Larson. I'm somewhat lightening up a little bit, but man, I kind of like Busch this weekend. Like, I'm still in on fading Larson on these tracks, despite a couple of good finishes. So, yeah, I'm in on that. But, Larson will look really good throughout the race and not be there at the end, and that's been his thing. Same story for Bubba Wallace. You mentioned, we think of him as a great superspeedway racer because we're used to him up there chopping it up and doing well, and he's got that win at Talladega, but the result's not always there. And I agree with you on that. And Bowman also, that run he had last week, you actually saw some signs of life out of Alex Bowman, which we haven't really seen lately, and was good to see. So, yeah, I'll ride with you on this one.
Yeah, again, it's one that you're probably going to be. It'll be watching the front of the pack. I mean, I don't think these guys are going to be running in the middle of the pack, so it'll be a fight and it'll be close to each other. But yeah, in the end, I think Bowman will get the best out of it. So, all right, let's get to more bets. But I want to tell you first officially about our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is a great place to play fantasy pick'em, where you can win up to 500 times and even 5,000 times your entry. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite player stats. It's available for a ton of sports. Listen, there's a couple of good things that I gave out last week. Actually, I gave out the Western Bulldogs on my bookie to win their matchup and to cover the spread in the Aussie Rules Football Women. Western Bulldogs came out and crushed it. That was fun. And then I was giving you Missy Gannon all week long in the Pro Disc Golf Tour to finish better than 4.5, and then finish better than 1.5. And guess what? She won the damn thing. So guess what? She beat both of them, both projections, and would have cashed you out on all of your picks if you would have followed that. So let's go back to the Pro Disc Golf Tour, shall we? How about Paul Macbeth? It is the 10th DGPT Championship, MPO. That's taking place on Thursday. Underdog is offering this, the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Paul Macbeth projected at a 4.5 place tournament finish. Give me the better than for Paul Macbeth, second in the United States Golf Championship last time out. Disappointing 25th finish, but first. He's got several top 4 finishes within the last several tournaments. I think he could do it again, at least get you inside of the top 4. So it is Paul Macbeth, top 4 in the 10th DGPT Championship, MPO, on Underdog Fantasy. Gotta love it. Underdog's got a brand new offer for new customers. Play $5, get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACE, SGPN. And football's back, and Rhythm is crushing it in college football and NFL with picks and props. Rhythm is also giving away weekly cash prizes just for tracking your bets in the app. Track 5 bets of the same type from any model you build. You can win $1,000. You can use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off of your first month. Download Rhythm. Use promo code SGPN25. Yes, sir. It was kind of fun. I was kind of keeping my eye on that disc golf pro tour and cheering Missy Gannon on from afar, and she pulled through, man. Got everybody a nice cashing ticket there.
You love to see it. All right, let's catch up on the chat real fast. TK saying SVG called it a documentary after moving here back to the Talladega Nights thing. And then he was also saying, I think him being shook helps on the super speedways because he hasn't been so aggressive. There you go. Ash was asking about Denny Hamlin. Since he's in, do we think he'll hang out to the back and not get involved? Worth seeing him in head-to-head matchups. This is, I think, interesting because he might just hang out in the back because, there's nothing to lose. Maybe we'll wait for the chaos to play out. Or he could go be the most aggressive motherfucker in the field because he ain't got nothing to lose. So whichever way he does go with that, it could go either way. So I don't have a strong lean on like fading him or riding him, or you could see either side of things because he could hang out in the back and hope everybody wrecks out and he's got a chance late, or he could just be balls to the wall. And then as TK pointed out too, he'll be trying to help Toyota. That's, I would imagine that they will go to him and ask him to help push Briscoe, ask him to help push Bell. Obviously they're trying to get those guys to win to advance to the next round. if he's around the cars he owns, I'm sure he would help them out as well. In a Bubba Wallace case or in a Tyler Reddick case. So, Hamlin's very interesting case.
Well, and I will say too that Hamlin is not afraid to pull himself out of the draft, regardless. But no matter what's going on around him, whether it's points, whether it's anything, he is notorious for feeling the flow, the energy of it, and saying, "Nope, I want no part of this," and pulling to the back anyway. So, this could be a situation where he obviously has nothing to lose, and he can do that more often than not. So. He's definitely an interesting case this week, and one where I don't think I'm going to take a chance on any bets on.
And if he does pull out of the draft and hang out back, do you want to fade him? Because then he's not going to get caught up in the wrecks, and that actually might help him finish better. If there's not many wrecks, which we have seen in this particular race in the fall before, maybe that's not the case. But when it comes to stages, I wouldn't be shocked to see him pull completely out of line, go to the back. Stages mean nothing. Points don't carry over anymore. The championship 4, everybody's at 0. So he is quite literally racing for nothing other than a win, because nothing else matters at this point in time based on his situation. So, and then Lynn was checking in as well, backing me up on the Larson thing. We've spent so many things. Oh man, it's been such a run. We've made so much money fading him that a couple races isn't changing the mind yet. Love it, Lynn. Let's continue to ride. Excuse me, the fake Kyle Larson train. All right, Rod. Top 10 markets, interesting this week. I will say if you've got Bet365, I would not wait. I would hurry up and get over there and place top 10s if you'd like them, because they're not going to stay where they're at. And you look at a place like FanDuel, and while you found a good number over there on one guy, the biggest number you can get on FanDuel is plus 550, whereas it's 16-1 over on Bet365. So that kind of lays out, and as people start hitting stuff, it's not going to last long. So I would not wait around if you're wanting to get in on top 10s. But Austin Dillon is a guy that I'm going to take a top 10 on, plus 220. Top 10s are tricky on the super speedways. Where do you kind of draw the line at? Where do you think it's worth taking the bet on? And Austin Dillon is kind of that line for me. So plus 220, you look at him, he's been pretty good at Talladega in particular, and been good at Daytona as well. So going back and looking, 24th at Daytona here in the fall, but in the spring race here at Talladega. So let's look at Talladega first, I guess. 10th place here in the spring, 8th place last fall. So 2 in a row inside of the top 10. He did finish 30th here in the spring of last year. So you're gonna get the bad finishes with the good. Had a 33rd, a 38th place. So it's definitely not all good. But then back to 2022, he finished 13th and 2nd. So he's had a little bit of the good, a little bit of the bad. It can go either way with him, but if he is good, he's in the top 10 or very close to it. Kind of same thing at Daytona. He's definitely not been as good kind of down the stretch at Daytona as he had been previously. Obviously, a former Daytona 500 winner. He won the fall race at Daytona back in August of 22. Had that second place finish here as well. If you go back to the old car, very good at Daytona, and was really good here at Talladega as well. But looking more recently at Talladega in particular, and yes, you can toss Atlanta stuff in here, but I do think Atlanta translates the least to Talladega, and we've started to see Atlanta still a drafting track, and still it's weird because I think you can look at Talladega and Daytona when you look at Atlanta, but it's harder to look at Atlanta when you're looking at Talladega or Daytona, if that makes sense, kind of based on where things are at. But Austin Dillon, a guy who's been up top and up in the front at the end of these races quite a few times at plus 220. I think you're getting a good enough number there on him. Then, Rod, you think Fast Pasta is going to be in a race and we're not going to take him? You would be incorrect. Of course, we're betting on Fast Pasta. Give me Anthony Alfredo. Top 10 at 10-1. Chaos factor, right? That's what you're looking for with a bet like this. You want him to be able to come out and do what he did here in the spring of 2024, where he finished in 6th place. That's what he's capable of doing in this 62 car, nonetheless. So you love to see that. 28th here in the spring, 24th last fall. Not great runs. We had less chaos in those two races. I will say Dig has been less chaotic lately for whatever reason, but don't lean into that, because the second you do, that's when the chaos flips on, right? But in 2021, back in the old car, he doesn't have a ton of starts. Obviously, he's kind of just in here and there, but a 10th place finish here in the front row car back in 21, a 12th place finish here back in the spring of 21 as well at Talladega. So He's had some really good runs at this track in the 38 car, in the old car, and in the 62 car here in the new car. And he's a guy that we always target when Xfinity Series goes to super speedways. Maybe we'll be talking about him later on this week when we talk about the trucks and Xfinity Series. But yeah, I love Anthony Alfredo, and I think 10-1 is a great number, especially when some books like FanDuel are only giving you plus 550 all the way at the top. And not everybody's going to get this option. I know it sucks. That's just kind of how it is. But if you've got Bet365, go take that. And then another one, BJ McLeod, 16-1. Again, you're just kind of shooting for the stars here. BJ runs a lot of these super speedways. He doesn't often finish in the top 10. I will say that. It's very sporadic. The last top 10 he had on a super speedway was Daytona 2022 in the August race there. Prior to that, it was Daytona 2021. So I'm not pounding the table for him, but I think you're getting a long number when we know chaos can happen, crazy stuff can happen. Finished 16th at Atlanta back in the summer race there. And then just kind of going back and looking, 22nd at Atlanta in the spring, 22nd here last year. But 22nd to 10th is one more wreck, right? It just doesn't take much. And being in the right place at the right time, a guy like BJ can get it done. He's a smart race car driver. He's going to go out and mind his P's and Q's. Probably not going to see him mixing it up with the leaders a bunch early. He kind of just hangs out back. Maybe him and Denny team up and just ride around behind the field and wait for shit to happen in front of him. But BJ at 16-1, I think, is a good number for him, for a guy that just good at making it to the end of these races. He'll give you a shot, give you a little bit of a sweat. So Austin Dillon plus 220, Fast Pasta Anthony Alfredo 10-1, BJ McLeod 16-1.
Love the long shot top 10s, especially on super speedway. Even though some people think you're crazy for giving them out, we've seen them happen before. And listen, it's not like we're telling you to bet your entire life savings on these things. We're just giving you good numbers that we like. So
that's the thing. That's the thing you can't stress enough is like betting at Talladega. If you got to push your glasses up and dig into the spreadsheet and that's not an optimal. Like probably just isn't the race for you to bet on, and that's fine. Like if you're that person, that's perfectly fine, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But if you just want to toss out some darts and throw some darts at the board and hope something big hits, these are the types, and that's why I think I like betting on these so much. Is I'm more in it, to have fun and to get the sweat out of it than anything. And these tracks are going to deliver that for you.
Indeed. You know what they're going to deliver a sweat to? Shane Van Gisbergen. I'm going to take him as a top 10 car at plus 330 over on FanDuel. Look, Shane, he spent quite a few laps actually in the top 15 in Las Vegas, 156 of them. People were starting to think, hey, did SVG learn how to drive a mile and a half when we were talking about Vegas last week? And that 88 was looking pretty good until it got wrecked out, unfortunately. But we're talking all of a sudden SVG looked like a mile and a half racer, and we kind of felt like this was going to be good. And the very end of it, that was that last wreck that took just about everybody out, that took him out of the top 10. But look, not to say that SVG's automatically become a top 10 driver everywhere, but at a super speedway, if we're taking shots on a lot of these other long shot guys, I don't think SVG is that terrible of a guy to actually take a shot on. Now, if you look back at his super speedway record so far this season, you would say this is definitely not a good bet. That's fine. You can say that. But I still think, like we said, all of the stuff that can go wrong and all of the people that can get wrecked out, all it takes is for one person to get pushed in the wrong part of the track and take out the first 15 cars. And there's SVG sitting in 20th, and all of a sudden he's a top 5 car. Now, I'm just not asking for that. I just want to be a top 10 car at plus 330. So SVG, like I said, had a very good car, a very fast car last week, and actually took care of it until the end and was running some good laps. Now, Daytona this year, 33rd. Atlanta, he followed it up with a 23rd, unfortunately. Talladega earlier this year, a 29th. But we've seen the maturation process of SVG, and I know that he keeps winning on these road courses, which is why he continues to be in the conversation. But, look, a 10th place at Kansas a couple of weeks ago, he won at the Roval. Look, are we saying that he's the best driver in the world? No, but we're saying that he's learning, and especially given the fact that he's going to be in a camp with the Chevys, right, and he can draft off of them. Maybe he's studied Talladega Nights enough to learn how Ricky Bobby got around this, or maybe even Gerard got around this, and he can study it and put it in the sims and try to get himself a good top 10 finish. But if he just stays clean, he's a competent race car driver, and he can do good things if he just figures it out. And, we're running out. This is it. This is the last Superspeedway race. So if he wants to have a good Superspeedway run, this is his last opportunity. And at plus 330, I feel like it's a really good opportunity because, like Cody said, most of these top 10 numbers are so nuked that it's hard to pick actual value for somebody that is going to finish in the top 10 and that because guess what? That person at a minus 200 you think is a lock, all of a sudden gets doored or gets pushed in the right rear, and then all of a sudden goes around. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I actually love this bet, and if you didn't have it in your doc, I was going to give it out. So I'll fully endorse you on this. SVG's proven. We've seen it week after week. Like last week, he was running really good. He got caught up in that Ty Gibbs wreck there, one of those late restarts, and it kind of ruined his day. But he was running top 10 again all day, which is, man, watch out next year if he's going to start running like this. It's kind of crazy. But, yeah, he's been very good on the super speedways. He's definitely learned it. And that's the thing is, yes, he's a rookie, but he's an experienced race car driver. He's quick to learn. He's a quick study. He's sort of figured out some of this drafting stuff. So, yeah, I think that he could have a great day. And, again, while you're searching hard for SVG, or when you're searching hard for money or for value, I guess, on the top 10s this week, SVG definitely a guy to look at that type of number.
Indeed. All right, well, let's continue down the card. Cody, looks like you're taking a page out of my book there, bud.
I am, Rod. I'm going to jump over to the winning car number bets. I noticed you didn't have this in there, so I figured out, I'm going to take a page out of Rod's book. And just to the point of super speedways and to having fun, go place a bet on a bet like this, because this isn't betting on one single driver where if they get caught up in the big one early on, your bet's cooked, your day's over. You are going to have someone in this bet until the last lap down to the final, to the stripe, right? It's you're going to have somebody that could cash this bet for you. And that's kind of the bet you're looking for in a race like this. I'm going to take the winning car number under 19.5, minus 110 over on Caesars. And it's minus 120 for the over. I don't exactly know why. I mean, yes, you got William Byron above it. There's definitely some guys above it, but kind of interesting that the over is more juiced for whatever reason. So we're going to go with the under 19.5. I think this gives you a great group of guys that you're going to have some of these guys there till the end. You get Ross Chastain, former Talladega winner. You get Austin Cindric, won Talladega in the spring, former Daytona 500 winner. You get Austin Dillon. I just talked about how good he's done here. Former winner at Daytona multiple times, Daytona 500 champion. You get Noah Gragson. Kyle Larson, maybe he gets it done. At least we'll be able to say we had a bet on him to win. Brad Keselowski. There's two guys that have more wins than Brad Keselowski at Talladega. They're both named Earnhardt. I don't think I need to give you anything else. Justin Haley. Yes, he got fired today, but he's a decent super speedway guy and pretty good at Talladega. Kyle Busch is actually very good at Talladega. He won here, was it 2 years ago, I think, or something. He's really close to winning or won here. I can't remember what it was, but he's been good here. Chase Elliott just won at Atlanta. He's won here at Talladega before as well. He's a very good super speedway guy. You get Ty Dillon, who's a decent super speedway driver. You get Denny Hamlin, 3-time Daytona 500 champion. You get Ryan Blaney, who's won twice here in the fall. One of the best. If you're making a Mount Rushmore of current super speedway guys, Ryan Blaney's on that list. You get AJ Allmendinger, not been as good at Dega as Daytona, but he's been a good super speedway guy. He's won here in the Xfinity Series. You get Chris Buescher. He's won on super speedways multiple times. You get Chase Briscoe in there. That's a lot of guys. You're getting all of these guys under that number. And when you look over the number, sure, there's some guys that could scare you. Joey Logano, obviously, Bubba Wallace, William Byron. Outside of that, like Erik Jones, a guy I'm going to talk about a little bit, yes. Stenhouse has won here before. Bowman's in there. Gibbs has been good here before. SVG, Suarez, there's just a lot of guys you're getting under 19.5. And yes, there's guys that could definitely win over that number. And I'm going to give some of them out in my outrights, but I think you're getting a hell of a deal here. This is one of these bets. It'll keep you in until the very end, gives you the action, gives you the sweat. You're going to be watching the guys under 19.5 in the top row, battling the guys over 19.5 in the bottom row, rooting for one of them. That's what makes it fun. Let's have fun betting on NASCAR. Give me the winning car number under 19.5 at -110.
If I were to pick one, this would be the one that I pick. I do agree with you on that, especially because there are so many people under that number. And then I was also going to take like the band that contained my outright as well on that one. But you already had this one, so I picked a different one. But yeah, I do like this one as well. Speaking of that, and speaking of the number under 19.5, I got a couple of top 5 numbers for drivers under the 19.5 number. I'm going to start with Brad Keselowski, top 5, plus 220 over on FanDuel. Brad Keselowski is one of those sneaky guys that will get things done. His average finish here on this track, not particularly impressive. He is 17th overall with a 17.7 average finish in the next-gen era. However, he does have 3 top 5 finishes in his last 5 races on this track, going back to the spring of 2023, where he finished in 5th place, followed by a 32nd place finish in the fall of 2023. Then he had a 2nd place finish in 2024 in the spring and a 2nd place finish in the fall of 2024. Now, he had a 36th place finish earlier in the year, but we were also talking about the fact that the beginning of year for Brad Keselowski was not as good as his RFK counterparts, so sort of made you wonder what was going on with Brad Keselowski. But I think this is an opportunity for him to run well again. We know that both of his teammates can run well on this track, and what you need on this track is teammates, and you need manufacturers that can get it done here. Obviously, he can get it done here. He did finish 10th in the Las Vegas race last week, which means there's a little speed in that number 6 car. It's not the blazing fast that we've come to know from Brad Keselowski, but 2nd at Bristol, 8th at Kansas, 10th at Las Vegas, 3 top 10 finishes in the last 5 races for him. So he's trending, or 5 races for him. So he's trending in the right direction. Take a look at some of his super speedway finishes. Not really all that impressive. 26th at Daytona, 39th in Atlanta. But again, we're talking about the slow start to the season for Brad Keselowski. So for me, if his top 10 number just didn't really do it for me. But when you look at the fact that he's got 3 top 5 finishes within the last 3 top 5s in the top 5 in the last 5. Try saying that 3 times fast. I don't know why I'm tripping over my words today, but I think it's because I'm laggy. Sorry, guys. If I'm laggy, I'm not sure what it is. The people listening on the podcast aren't going to know. But those of you watching on YouTube, I apologize for it. But maybe it's just a case of the Tuesdays. But 3 top 5 finishes in the last 5. That was essentially my handicap for one Brad Keselowski to finish in the top 5. Plus, I really do like the number at plus 220. Austin Cindric is my next top 5 finisher. Plus 155 over on the FanDuel as well for his. Austin Cindric, crazily enough, is in the top 10 overall as terms of average finishes here at Talladega. He won in the spring earlier this season, which is why he was on his playoff run. So obviously there was some speed in there, but he does have a top 5 finish in the fall of 2023. So maybe the fall races are his favorite. He got a 9th place finish in the fall of 2022. The one outlier there was a 32nd place finish he got in 2024 in the fall. But his best races have come in the fall here. 2 of those have been, or at least one of those has been a top 5. And yeah, I mean, for Austin Cindric, we know his Penske teammates are going to be fast. We know that Ryan Blaney's going to be fast. We know that Joey Logano's going to be fast. And I just have a feeling that he's going to benefit from that. And so, yeah, Austin Cindric going to need to bounce back too, because he actually had a very disappointing day, obviously in Las Vegas. So, yeah, he needs to bounce back. He's going to bounce back, and I think he'll do it on this track. I say disappointing. He finished 11th, but there was circumstances that would have favored him to finish better than that. And unfortunately, he just didn't get it done. So, yeah, I like both Brad Keselowski, both Fords. Top 5 at plus 220, and Austin Cindric top 5 at plus 155 over on FanDuel.
Yeah, both drivers or former drivers of the number 2 car. Top 5s, man. I just couldn't. Well, I'm going to give out one top 5, but I couldn't really wrap my head around top 5s this week. I wish the books would have done a little bit better there, but these are two guys that are great at super speedway racing. Brad at Talladega in particular, I think it's 9 wins. Again, he's on that list with Dale Sr., Dale Jr. Those three are the top of the board in all-time wins here. And we see him. He's great on super speedways, obviously. Cindric just won here in the spring. You laid out the case. So, it's hard to argue against either of these guys. You're definitely picking some good ones. All right, I'm going to go over to the top manufacturer market. I got a lot of bets in this box, so I'll try to rattle them off somewhat quickly. But, it used to be you just fire away on tons of top 10s. We don't really get those opportunities anymore. But getting into this top manufacturer, I think, is a great way to still get big number odds again. And we're throwing some darts at the board, hoping that one sticks. That's kind of what you're looking for here. So I'm going to start with the Fords. Give me Todd Gilliland at 18-1. Give me Zane Smith at 22-1. So Todd Gilliland has been very, very good here at Talladega. 7 career starts, rather. And in 5 of those starts, he's finished in 16th place or better. 16th here in the spring, 23rd last fall, but 8th, 12th, 10th, 7th before that, 27th in his first career start here. So it's all been very good runs, hanging out up front. Yes, Blaney's a favorite. Yes, Logano's a favorite. Yes, Cindric's a favorite. Yes, things go wrong for all 3 of those guys. It's that way for any of the manufacturers this week, but we talk about that with Ford every week, right? Blaney was the heavy favorite last week, finished dead last. So things like that do happen. Jumping over to the Toyota market, this is essentially just a big group because you've only got so many Toyotas out there. I'm going to give you another one here when we get to the car lift in a minute, but Riley Herbst is the other one I'm taking. He's the longest shot at 22-1. And he's actually a pretty solid super speedway guy. Finished 40th at Daytona last time out, so that can happen, right? But 28th at Atlanta, 22nd here in the spring, 17th at Atlanta in the spring, 17th at the 500. He did finish 9th place here, though, driving for Front Row back in 2023. Also a 10th place finish for Rick Ware Racing in the Daytona 500 in 2023. So a couple of good finishes in his belt. We've seen the Toyotas take each other out. We've seen the different ways this can go. Find a way to survive. Be there at the end. And you have a shot at it at 22-1. I like him. Then over in the Chevy market, I'm going to go with Daniel Suarez at 16-1 and Austin Dillon at 20-1. I already talked about Dillon and how good he's been at Talladega in particular. Sometimes, right? Not all the time. So you're going to get one end or the other. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's really bad. So we're going to hope it's the really good side of things. But Daniel Suarez, I know he let us down last week. It was a bit unfortunate. Just the Trackhouse car is not as good as we thought they would be at Las Vegas. But Suarez is a very, very good super speedway racer. Just finished 2nd place at Daytona. Finished 9th place at Talladega back in the spring. 13th in the 500. He had the 2nd place finish in that 3-wide finish last year at Atlanta. He won also in Atlanta last year. So great runs there. 10th place finish here in 2023. A 2nd at Atlanta again. A 9th place finish here at Talladega once again. 8th place at Talladega back in 22. 6th place at Atlanta that year. 7th place at Daytona. 4th place at Atlanta. So he's been very good at all. Atlanta in particular, but all of the super speedways. Finished top 10 already earlier this year here. Just finished 2nd at Daytona a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, that's a lot of manufacturer bets there, but just to kind of sum it up quick, Gilliland and Smith, Zane Smith, that is the top Fords, 18 and 22-1. Top Toyota, Riley Herbst at 22-1. Top Chevy, Daniel Suarez at 16-1. Austin Dillon, 20-1.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just a matter of it doesn't take much for some of these long shots to hit. It just takes a nice little wreck at the front, and then everybody else behind them is in play. So that's why you have to do these. I know, again, on any other track, last week at Las Vegas, we're not telling you Todd Gilliland can be a top Ford. We're not telling you Zane Smith. Well, maybe Zane Smith. But, yeah, I mean, again, it's just the nature of super speedways, right?
Yeah. Even more so this week than the other weeks.
Exactly. So that's why you do it. But then you also follow them up with something like this where you got Ryan Blaney inside of the top 3 plus 370 over on FanDuel. And, like we said at the outset, it's just a little difficult to identify top 10 value and top 5 value because of the simple fact that anything can happen. So you kind of stick to the closer part of the top for some of these favorites and get some good value out of it. So Ryan Blaney, top 3 at plus 370. When you look at his average finishes here, average finish of 16th overall, puts him 9th place in terms of standing-wise on the average finish chart. But this reason that he's so, I guess, long at a top 3 is that he hasn't done it in a while. 37th in the spring, 39th in the fall of last year, 20th in the spring of last year. But before that, ripped off 3 straight finishes of first and or second leading into that. So the fall of 2023, he won this race, and then in the spring of 2023, he finished second. The fall of 2022, he ended up finishing second in that race as well. So 3 top 3 finishes in a row before 3 pretty bad finishes in a row. So here's what I'm hoping for, because we know Ryan Blaney had a very poor outing last week, right? And he's really behind the 8 ball now. Cody set it up. It's not a win. You have to win to get in, but for Ryan Blaney, it's pretty damn near close to it. And for a guy who's won this race recently, and I say that within the last couple of years, and has had 2 second-place finishes, you would think that all of Penske is going to pull out all the stops to get Ryan Blaney close to the front. Now, when it comes down to Blaney and Logano at the end, it'll be all bets are off, but they want both of those guys to be able to be jockeying for position in the championship. And so they're going to need Blaney to run well. They're going to need Logano to run well. They're going to need Cindric to run well. And they're going to need all their little Penske feelers out there to also run well. So I think Fords have a lot on the line, as do Chevys, but Fords have a lot on the line right now for the playoff rise. And Ryan Blaney's done it in the past, and I think that he could probably do it again this season. So give me Ryan Blaney top 3 plus 370 over on FanDuel.
Yeah, the expert suck was asking a little bit ago, can we get a Blaney win with a Joey top 3? You're obviously endorsing Blaney to be in the top 3 here. Those guys, I would expect the 3, it's funny, the 2 teams I think that work the best on super speedways together are both Ford teams. I would expect those 3 Penske Fords to be locked together through most of the race. I would expect those 3 RFK Fords to be locked together through most of the race. Those are the 2 teams that seem to work the best. You're going to have manufacturers helping manufacturers, teammates helping teammates, all throughout the field, but those guys in particular are very good at it. So if you think a guy like a Blaney can finish 3rd, likely Joey Logano is going to be there with him. Not always the case. Sometimes one gets caught up in a wreck or whatever, but and then I know that Ash was helping you find that number at 45-1 over on Bovada. So yeah, it's definitely, and we talk about that a lot in the DFS side of things, like building lineups where you're pairing up Fords together or teammates together or Chevys together or Toyotas together, because you're going to see a lot of that. And likely if one's there, good chance the other one is too. And if they're not there, then they're probably both not there. So not always the case, but it happens quite a bit for sure.
It sure does. All right. Well, Cody, there was one, when I started the doc, I gave it, I didn't have anything in the doc. I looked it and opened it up. Was it yesterday? And the only thing in there was this. No odds, no anything.
You sent it, and I was busy doing something. I saw it pop up on my phone. I clicked it. I opened it, and I wrote this in there really fast. Closed it out. I figured I'd come back, do the rest of my bets later. You actually got the rest of the bets in before I made it back. But I wanted to make sure that you did not claim the Erik Jones car lift, because, my friend, that is all mine at Talladega. Happy Erik Jones week to all who celebrate. We're going to ride the car lift rod. You can get his top 10 plus 220 over on Bet365. You can get his top 5 plus 650. Top finishing Toyota. So we'll do that in addition to the Riley Herbst Toyota bet. You can get that at plus 850. There's a group over on Caesars. Actually, I think this was on Bet365. Sorry, I wrote Caesars for some reason. Group F over on Bet365. You can get him at plus 300 over Ty Gibbs, Todd Gilliland, and Josh Berry. I'll take that. And I'm also going to take him to win this race at 40-1. I love Erik Jones when we come to Talladega. And here's the reason why. 7 starts in the next gen era. 4 times he's finished inside of the top 6. He's been amazing here. There's actually only 4 drivers that are active that have a better average finish than he does. It's all 4 of the Hendrick cars, like you mentioned earlier. He's the next guy on the list, is Erik Jones. 18th place here in the spring, bit of a disappointing run there, but 5th place here last fall. Spring hasn't been nice to him the last couple of years, 36th or 35th, 26th in 2023. So it's been some rough races lately, but next gen era, spring of 23, 6th place, fall of 22, 6th place, spring of 22, 6th place. Very good. And then pre-next gen era, you go back, 9th place, a 2nd place, a 5th place. He had an 8th place back in 2018. So been a very good track for Erik Jones. a track that I always have circled when it comes to Erik Jones. I think that he's going to have a good run this weekend, and he's the guy, right? So top 10 is obviously kind of the bet we're hoping for at plus 220. But you ride this to the top. If he wins this race, holy shit, you're cashing out big because you not only got the 40-1 to win, but all these bets along the way. So top 10 at plus 220, the top 5 at 650, top 3 if you want, it's out there. I don't have the number in front of me, but I don't always love taking the top 3, but hey, it's out there if you believe in it. Top Toyota plus 850. That group over on Bet365, Group F over Gibbs, Gilly, and Barry at 3-1, and then win the race 40-1. Erik Jones car lift.
This just feels like a race that, with as good as Legacy was doing up until they stopped doing as well, that they could reclaim their spot again, right? I mean, I talked about Ford having a lot to deal with, but now that Hamlin is in there, like Briscoe's still there, so Toyota's still got a lot to actually go for in this instance, right? So there's just other ways that Toyota's going to have to be in the front, and Legacy plays nicely with 2311, and they also play nicely with Gibbs, and so maybe this is another opportunity for them. And I can't hate Legacy, so I'm with you on the car lift. I'll hold the jack while you pump it up.
Love it, yeah. And 14-1 top 3 you can get over on the Bovada, I'm sure, from Ash there. So shout out to him for that. But yeah, if you go back, like I didn't even look at the Daytona stats. Remember Legacy, they all finished great in the 500. He's run well at the other ones, but Talladega in particular, Erik Jones playground, and kind of weird. Nemechek, his teammate, we love at Daytona, not good at Talladega. He's been very bad over his career at Dega for whatever reason, or at least the latter part of his career. But yeah, Jones has been great here. So love Erik Jones. Also love Laura. Wanted to give her a shout out. She's checking in. You could watch the rest of the show and then go the replay route, Laura.
But she doesn't want to spoil it, right? The spoiler alert.
It's one of those shows you don't have to listen to the whole thing in order. Well, most of the time, I don't think.
I'm just going to cut that part out. It's one of those shows you have to listen to the whole thing. Full stop right there. All right. Well, if you don't listen to the whole thing, then you're going to miss this one, and then I give you a team winner. We just talked about the fact that Hendrick is the top 4 in average finishing on the chart there. And, their number, it's interesting. But for whatever reason, my eye was drawn to Penske in that you think and look back to the last 4 winners on this track, right? It was Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, Ricky Stenhouse, Austin Cindric. The last time that a Hendrick Motorsports driver won this race was Chase Elliott in 2022 in the fall. And even then, you got to go all the way back to 2019 in the spring for Chase Elliott to have won that race. And that was it. Since then, it's been Blaney, Hamlin, Keselowski in that Ford, and then Wallace, Chastain, Elliott, Busch, Blaney, Reddick, Stenhouse, and Cindric. So it's been a smattering, but the last couple of seasons have seen Penske win the race a couple of times over. So I'm going to really just play the odds here, because as much as everybody knows that Hendrick finishes well, not translating into too many wins. And I'm not necessarily wanting to take Gibbs as a winner because, again, look at the last time a Gibbs car has won this race. Like it's been, let me see, I'm trying to look. Kyle Busch was in a Chevy in that, so that's not a Gibbs. Yeah, I mean, literally Denny Hamlin in 2020 was the last time a Gibbs driver won this race. 2311 may be interesting because of Reddick and Wallace. Trackhouse, a little intriguing because of Chastain. But Penske, it's the playoffs, baby. It is these guys' time to shine. And I already talked about Blaney being inside of the top 3. And if you can be in the top 3, then you can win this race quite easily if you duck out at the right time. So for me, this is just more play on... maybe Penske finds the speed enough to win this race as they've done in the last couple of seasons, and more of a Gibbs and Hendrick have not been able to get it done crossing the victory line very often lately, where other teams have had an opportunity to sort of surpass them. So yeah, this is more just a play. I like the number 2, like I said, at plus 300 for Penske to win this race. And I just feel like this is a good opportunity for you to sort of diversify your portfolio.
Hey, you're getting 3 really great drivers, all very good on super speedways. Probably the least, what would be the way to say it? I guess the least selfish team out there. They the motto at Penske is you make sure Roger wins before you make sure you win. And it's well documented over there that all of these drivers know that Roger is more important than you are, and they will sacrifice themselves for the good of the team. That obviously helps play, and I think heavily into their success. And they've been good for years. You know, when Keselowski was over there, it was a great trio. When Keselowski left and Cindric slid in there, literally winning right away at the Daytona 500. It's been a great trio since then. So it's hard to argue too much with that. All right, Rod, let's get to the outrights. I love your outright. I'm also going to be playing the guy you're going to give out, so I will I'll fully endorse yours ahead of time. But hey, Super Speedway, right? Sprinkle a bunch of things out there, take a look at it, and have some fun. Try to have some skin in the game here at the end. I gave out Erik Jones as part of the car lift, of course, 40-1. I saw Laura got 45-1. Shout out to Laura. So you love to see that. So, of course, take Erik Jones with this as well. But give me Chase Elliott, 14-1 over on BetMGM. 5th place here in the spring. He's won twice here before, including the fall race back in 2022. In his 7 next-gen starts here, he's got 4 top 5 finishes. 6 of those 7 have been inside of the top 15. Always in it until the end. One, obviously, at Atlanta not too long ago. So, again, less comparison from that to this, but we'll throw it in there. JDK tuning in just at the right time, says this afternoon, fellas. I like Payne. JDK knows all about that, Rod. So we're going to take Kyle Busch, 18-1. Why I keep doing these things to myself, I don't know, but he did win here in 2023, the April race, and he was also 3rd here in 2022 in the April race. Been a mixed bag of results, but he's been very good on super speedways in a general sense. He's coming off of a top 10 finish last week at Las Vegas, so maybe there's still a little bit left in that Kyle Busch tank, even though it's seemingly been pretty empty as of late. I think he's too good of a super speedway guy to pass up. 18-1, I will take it. Chase Briscoe, 25-1. Man, I just love Chase Briscoe. I've been betting on him every single week. Again, last week, it looked like late. Holy shit, they make the right call. He almost made the 2 tires last. He was going to hold off Larson. He just didn't have enough. Hamlin just had a fucking rocket ship, which was fine because we bet on him too, so it didn't really matter either way. And actually, I had more money on Hamlin, so it ended up working out well for me. But Chase Briscoe, I think he's just got ice water in his veins. We saw it with the win at the Southern 500 last year. You know, there's a little bit of pressure. Yeah, he's plus money or plus points going into this race, but go out and get a win at 25-1. He's been solid at this track, 15th here in the spring, 12th place last year, 13th place in the fall of 23, had a 4th here in April of 23, a 10th here in October of 22, and then even pre-next gen in his 2 starts, top 15s in both of them. So Chase Briscoe, 25-1. Carson Hocevar, Rod, I know you'll like this one, 30-1. I don't remember which race it was earlier this year. It might have been here even, where he was just like, if they hadn't thrown the early caution, he was going to go win the race. I don't remember if it was here or if it was Atlanta, but either way, he did finish 6th place here in the spring, so might have been the one. 14th, 17th, 35th in his first career start, but been 3 solid runs for Carson Hocevar. He's a guy that I don't want to bet on anything but the outright because it's going to be checkers or wreckers for him, right? Which for Talladega Nights, that's perfect. You know, he's going to be super aggressive, but that aggression can pay off. We've seen it almost pay off for him. I think he can get it done at 30-1. And then Zane Smith at 50-1. He's going to be my kind of final long shot to wrap it up. Talked about him a couple of times throughout the show earlier on. Been a solid race car driver. He's won at a track like this before in the Truck Series. At 50-1, I think he's the type of guy that put himself in the right position at the end of this thing and have a shot to win. So quick recap. It's Elliott, Busch, Briscoe, Hocevar, Zane Smith, and then, of course, Erik Jones from the car lift.
Indeed. Yeah. So, you know, it's funny because we just got done talking about as far as Hendrick not being able to really get it done in the win column, but Elliott, one of those guys that's doing it. So I very much like that. Checking in with James saying the greatest gambling podcast across all of NASCAR. Thank you, James. Talladega Nights is a hoax. Talladega ain't got no lights. That's true too, but that's all right.
That's okay.
Also, he's hitting the like button to the melody of Funky Town. I do love that for Shrek reasons, by the way. All right. Well, speaking of this is the way that I will kind of hedge off of the Penske bet, and that I will give a Hendrick Motorsports driver the win, and that's William Byron at 14-1, 16-1. 14-1 on MGM, 16-1 on 365 if you've got it. There's a name that is sitting atop of the Talladega NASCAR Next Gen Average Finishes chart by iFantasy Race, and that is one William Byron. 5 for 5 in his last 5 races on this track in top 10 finishes. 3 for 5 in top 3 finishes. He finished 3rd in both the spring and the fall. Spring of this year, fall of last year. 7th in the spring of 2024. 2nd in the fall of 2023. And 7th in the spring of 2023 as well. 15th and 12th in his 2022 efforts on this track. But outside of that, I mean, he's got 7 top 10 finishes in 15 starts. 46% of the time, William Byron is finishing inside of the top 10, including a runner-up in 2021, a 4th place finish in 2020 in the fall as well. So, I mean, look, William Byron, super fast around this track. Won Daytona earlier this season, so he does have a win on a super speedway already this year, so you can chalk that up. A bad run last week at Las Vegas. That was a little bit frustrating for him, but that means that he's got to turn it on, because now the push is coming to shove and he's going to need a really, really good run this week. And why not just win the damn race and get it all over with? So, like I said, it's been tough for Hendrick Motorsports to win in this particular race other than Chase Elliott. But if anybody can get it done, it's definitely going to be William Byron, who, boy, that was a nasty, nasty head-on collision. That's one that you see on those dash cams when you're watching YouTube and they show hardest wrecks ever, and just you go, ooh. Well, that's exactly what happened. We watched that and we went, ooh, good thing he's okay, but damn, Ty Dillon got him. Or he got Ty Dillon pretty good in that one.
Yeah. That was brutal. Hopefully he's not too shook from that like his teammate is, Rod, but I'll fully endorse this one. I love this play. If you didn't have him in here, he definitely was making my outrights at 14-1 and 16-1 if you get that even better. Byron, I mentioned kind of at the top of the show, man, he's one of the best, if not the best, super speedway racer right now. We've seen it the last 2 Daytona 500s in a row. He's won those back-to-back. Winner here before as well. He knows how to get it done on super speedways.
He certainly does. All right, get out your pen and paper. Time to go over our bets for this YellaWood 500. Apologies to the YouTube. There is no graphic. We actually started early today, so we just wanted to get the show out and get the show going, because we want you to have plenty of time before these lines inevitably shift. So, all right, Cody started you out with Noah Gragson to win the poll at 40-1. Gave you William Byron over Kyle Larson at -110. I gave you Alex Bowman over Bubba Wallace at -110 over on ESPN. Cody gave you Austin Dillon at top 10 at +220. Anthony Alfredo top 10 at 10-1. BJ McLeod top 10 at 16-1. I said SVG would be a top 10 car at +330. Cody gave you a winning car number under 19.5 at -110. I said Brad Keselowski would get inside of the top 5 at +220, along with Austin Cindric at +155. Cody said that Todd Gilliland at 18-1 and Zane Smith at 22-1 were his top Ford picks. Top Toyota, Riley Herbst at 22-1. Daniel Suarez, 16-1. Austin Dillon, 20-1 to be top Chevy. I said Ryan Blaney, top 3 car, +370. Cody is riding the Erik Jones car lift all the way to the top 10, +220. Top 5, +650. Top Toyota, +850. To win Group F over on Caesars at 3-1, and to win the race at 40-1. I said Penske would be the winning team at 3-1. Cody followed that with Chase Elliott at 14-1, Kyle Busch at 18-1, Chase Briscoe at 25-1, Carson Hocevar at 30-1, Zane Smith at 50-1 to win the race, and I said William Byron at 14-1 or 16-1 if you can get it, would win this race. It's Talladega, baby.
It's Talladega. It's beautiful. Go have fun betting this week. These are the types of weeks where we just lower the expectations. Go have fun. Enjoy the race. Don't look at the speedometer and, oh, they're out there fuel saving and going so slow. Just enjoy the race side by side, battling. It's going to be a good finish. There's going to be big, spectacular wrecks. We're going to cash some bets. Erik Jones is going to win. Let's fucking go.
Indeed, yeah. This is Super Speedway betting, and you guys are like, oh, why are you giving out all these long shots? Well, they're all long shots. So if you don't like it, there's other shows out there that are playing it closer to the vest, and you can go listen to them. We love everybody that sticks around. Actually, we love you for sticking around, by the way. Those of you who stick around for us, coming up to the end of the year, so doing some analytics cleaning and some folks of, just trying to gather up the end of the year report for the bosses. And I love that you guys stick around for the show. I love that you guys watch and listen as much as you do because, those things go a long way in keeping the show going. And you guys, man, this audience is phenomenal. You don't think about it when you're going through the grind of everything until you start compiling all of the numbers at the end of the year. And you're like, wow, you guys really are an amazing audience. So thank you for being that and hanging with us throughout the end of the show, first and foremost, but through the whole season. So we love you very much.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Rod, so I won't even try, but I echo everything you said.
Beautiful stuff. All right, well then, Cody, let everybody get out there and move these lines because they're going to right now. So let's send everybody off to do that. Let everyone know where they can find you outside of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeb. You can find all my stuff over there. Always having a good time. Lots and lots of fun articles. Lots and lots of fun bets. And just enjoying end of the racing season here. It's been a lot of fun. But hey, my Huskers are ranked. My Patriots are atop the AFC East. What a beautiful time to be alive, Rod. You gotta love it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll see what odds look like. But we got DFS show this week. We got Xfinity and trucks, both at Talladega as well. Oh, what a fucking weekend to bet. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. We'll see you guys later.
Indeed. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. You can find all of my rantings and ravings on there as well. Don't do like Cody. Don't turn on the notifications. Nobody needs to know exactly when I tweet something because it's never really
fun. I love it. Sometimes I'll just sit there and watch as Rod's live tweeting a game and it just pops up tweet after tweet. It's amazing.
I do have some fun sometimes, but definitely a lot of fun, and keep up with all my stuff as well. Make sure you're checking out the back road this week. Seth and Elliott hanging for you with Dega. But all right, we'll see you guys tomorrow with whatever we can come out with, whether it's DFS, whether it's trucks and Xfinity. Hopefully we can keep the schedule, but if not, we have you covered. So, all right, we'll see you guys tomorrow, and until then, let's go racing and let it ride.